Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Analyst Desk. I'm Ostamatic. With me is Fresh. We just went through game 1 of the day, Oxygen versus Chiefs. What I'm told is the match number 6969 tracked by CGG. So,
oh really?
Yes.
Nice.
That is the double nice right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very excited to bring you even more. And the next up banger is Team One versus Vitality. Fresh.
That is a certified absolute banger.
Bangers and mash, maybe.
Bangers and mash. Oh.
English.
I'm missing home already. I did have beans on toast, so only half missing home.
He still prefers Paris to Hull, so.
I do. I off topic here, but I love Paris. Like, I didn't have any expectations going into it, but I really enjoyed being in Paris and a whole new city and lifestyle.
It's too loud for me. I'm just getting old, maybe. That's another thing. Team One first. Let's put them up on the screen and see the roster, what they're bringing again today, which, oddly enough, are the same players that were here yesterday. Crazy! Can't believe it! KDS, Alamao, Neskin, Levy, and Lagonis. A good start for the day. They got some pretty good performance, but then they kind of dropped the ball. And more likely, it was Damwon Kia that was kicking that ball around all day, every day.
And honestly, Team One, they came into it like defending champions. It was really nice to see. And people still had reservations about Team One, myself included, about reservations. Would they defend like champions? Are they even the best team in LATAM despite being major champions? They came out and they made a statement yesterday with 2 wins. It literally, it can't go much better than that. They'll be looking to build on that today. Obviously, I'll keep saying it right throughout the next 2 or 3 days. Get through the groups, and then playoffs is where it really starts.
Yeah, well, this is Team One. Vitality is on the other side, the reigning French champions. They had, again, a good opener.
Yes.
As good as it really gets. So, I don't know. Do we even account for their points in this case? Rychinka, Bibu, Cactus, P4, and Rise.
One thing I will say is Jess did a Twitter Spaces yesterday, and we actually got Laloon on. She
that's cool.
And we had a very quick interview with her, and she said that the players kind of struggled to recover mentally from the technical issues that happened yesterday. So during their second game, there was technical issues, there was pauses, there was a bit of a long delay, and for players that becomes quite hard. It becomes quite hard to mentally recover from that, and they've never really got going again. So it kind of speaks to their resilience as a team to be able to. Top teams should still be able to get through that, win the matches. But what she did say is the boys are in a good place. They spoke after the game. They went back to the practice room. You know, they relaxed. They're in a good place. And it's, again, for them, it's just about coming through today, taking this game. They've forgotten about yesterday completely now. Take this game in isolation, and obviously they will be doing their best to win it.
Not gonna lie, having the team switch over to their actual black jerseys is so much better.
I shill orgs that have fantastic jerseys. I will shill FaZe, and I will shill Vitality as well, because their jerseys are so nice.
FaZe up, bro. FaZe up.
I can't.
FaZe up. We learned that back in SI18. Thank you, Gio, for that. But there it is. Our decider is Chalet. This is where our series will go. Team One banning Oregon, and Vitality taking Cafe Dostoevsky out of the running. Decider is Chalet. Does it make sense to you, Fresh?
Yeah, Vitality like this map. It's a high preference map for Vitality. Team One pretty much operating on a 7-map pool, so it's a map both teams like, and I'm going to say it, it will be an absolute banger.
I genuinely hope that it will be. Vitality, French champions, and they have made it to a major. The last time any of them really played at major, if you're really accounting for core, is Bibu, and that was Paris Major 2018.
One very quick point on this.
Go ahead.
3 players are making their major debuts for Vitality here, and not a lot of people are kind of taking that into account, is that this is still a young roster. It's only Bibu as kind of a legacy and Rise as legacy players. Yep,
it's Cactus, P4, and Shinka that are in here. Let's see what the French can pull off today against the Brazilians. Team One, it's Vitality, and let's go. It's Chalet in the beautiful French Alps. Enjoy.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to a showdown here between Team One versus Vitality, with me, Fluke, and you, Hap.
Every single time I'm waiting, and I'm like, am I going to be introducing myself this time?
I like to
that, like that small pause. There's like that. Hanap. All right. Well, let's get into the match, shall we? We are heading towards Chalet for Team One versus Vitality. I'm excited for it. I want to see how these teams are going to be coming up against one another, and that is quite a close social vote, considering it is the current major champion going up against Vitality, who haven't been here ever since 2018 Paris.
Vitality have been impressive, and I think that's one of the things as well, is obviously huge fan base. Vitality, they have a big following, and it's a good roster with some storied names on the board, and Team One, technically young upstarts, but also positively and statistically the threat of this group. And this was always going to be one of those make or break games, because Vitality were a bit of a surprise factor in a lot of people's predictions. Are they going to be the ones that break away and find one of the top two spots, or are they going to find themselves, unfortunately, with a similarity to some seasons of EUL, and just being shy of the top two?
That's it, right? They want to make sure that they're going to the playoffs in this opportunity here, as they want to, you know, put up a good major for themselves, especially after it's been so long. And you got to remember as well, a completely different lineup really to come through. It's just Bibu left in the old one. Pre-Day was, for example, still in that old lineup that was there. He's now, unfortunately for Vitality, I think we can say that, playing for BDS, because honestly, he is still one of the best support players I have ever seen inside of Siege. I think Alamau actually is also one of those good support players, you know?
I mean,
I've heard a thing or two about him.
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good, yeah.
He's pretty good.
So, some people like to call him the second coming of Pengu. He's trying to get there.
He's trying to get there. I mean, understandably so, a lot of people. We have the real Pengu here, and he's able to comment on that, so we can ask him to deep dive later. But for now, they have their final showdown in the group. If somehow you've got to this point and you're unaware of how it's working throughout the group stages, groups 4, every team plays each other twice. So this is the final first showdown these two teams will have. It's the one to wrap it up before they'll find each other again as the last game tomorrow. This is their moment to sort of give themselves a bit of a head start into the second half of the group stage.
Yeah, for sure, and Chalet will be the place where both these teams will be closing out the first round of robin of the two, of course, that are there. Vitality, well, they've seen quite a bit of Chalet here and there being played inside of the E. Well, remember when the map just came out, it was the 6th invitation. We were there, actually. Somehow it's also in Paris. We've done a lot of stuff in Paris this year, surprisingly so. Wonder why.
Can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough of it. Back then we used to call it the NA map, really, until, of course, the NA teams started to get beaten by it, by the Latam team. So, who knows, who sees who will be the one to reign in Supreme here today.
So, as snowy as it is here in Sweden, they find themselves filled up with the joy that it brings and the cold fingers that need to quickly warm up into what is expected to be quite a big gun game. If you're unfamiliar with how these two teams like to function, expect P4 to try and find as many fights as possible. He loves to lead in with a lot of a rotation coming from potentially Rise in a lot of situations, and then a sturdy backline behind them. On the split side, you have Alamau, One Kid Wonder, who has been phenomenal, but in recent terms and times, we've seen the team go from strength to strength. Team One has really very quickly found themselves as a fresh roster of a couple of different teams brought together just before their side, just at the start of the beginning of this year, to where they are now, current sitting major champions and current Tour de Force in form.
Sure, in form currently in that first place. Vitality for now in third. They're looking to climb out of that one. They want to get into that second spot. Potentially even third, of course. And it is all still within reach, because we are only getting started with the third day. Now that's a grenade to come in right before the Nitro would pop. Neskin opens up the score.
Great grenade there, play from underneath. The damage and destruction has been done. Now they're going to see if they can actually try and hold on to a bit of this dangerous corner as box starts to get popped open. They generally have a fairly steady hold here on the southeastern side. They're going to try and broach across the top and deal some damage without actually hopping onto Solarium or currently Piano Windows, although Neskin starts the drive with KDS getting one more. The attention is starting to be paid. The hop out doesn't quite come to fruition, and that's clever play on the repel, just tucked under the safety of the brick wall, so the shrapnel doesn't quite catch them on the split. P4 is trying to creep his way back towards the plant danger, but with a minute left, it's looking like the pressure's going onto Bibu. No! Great take onto one, sprays to find a second, nothing to be found.
Managed to get one, and the EP4 is looking to go for a jump out under the cover of the beeping of the Nitro, of course, which is unable to be detonated anymore. Waiting for this repel inside. That might be a run out here from... No, he's actually staying good. Not really moving too much. Fires were around there, and he's hiding around the corner. Seems like they were aware there is going to be a ping, but it's going to be P4 that still wins it somehow. Tries to go for more, but he gets taken out from the balcony.
There was a drone watching him the whole time, and now it puts them into a 3 versus 2. At least found one in a situation where, to be honest, a lot had gone away from him. But it's a 2 versus 2. Bibu finds the double and puts them into a 15-second execute here. The pop-up over the shield. Neskin just gets the catch, the last bullet in the mag, and as Levy sticks the diffuser, Shinka's going to make a move here. Looks for the cover on the first, but they've already slipped away. Unfortunately, couldn't quite find an angle, and they retreat back towards the pillar on the top of the rafters. More air jabs cause more problems, and that's popped just around that diffuser. So as soon as Shinka hits either of these two swings, they are going to find themselves thrust into a dangerous situation. The first fight is the one that loses. Neskin gets the open lockout, and a back and forth goes Team 1's way.
Was of course a drone there that would have been able to give away some information as he stepped right on it, but the angle was being watched either way. Did not really matter. And just what a timing there with that grenade just to come in. And Bibu, well, a valiant effort here, but Neskin, just that last bullet he fired, really picking up that kill. Onto Bibu playing on that shield. That was basically the anchor to the sides. He was going to be able to hold that long angle, stop them from moving in right behind the half wall. And as soon as they got that kill, that stopped the potential threat that Vitality had on that half wall and allowed them to go for a plant.
So, Vitality don't quite lock in their opening Chalet here, but it's still early doors, obviously, and to be fair, it came a bit of a back and forth in the middle of the round, built behind Bibu, able to swing back into the aggressive push. It was late from T1 in terms of the execute, and that was because of those vital moments, that confidence from Vitality, repositioning, finding themselves onto the door of the balcony, and obviously the swing and making music around Piano. If that's a confidence that can root around a team that has had a long history of boot camping and bringing themselves together when they're in close proximity, that is what Vitality need to lean into here.
Do need to lean into it. Just looking at their setup here, they're going for a bit of a top-heavy hold, which is of course logical, considering the side that they are currently running. Now there is two ways about it. We've seen it many times before. Either you go for a quick push through the Snowmobile garage, rush up the west main stairs, and you find yourselves in the middle of the site with often one, maybe no players from the defending team present. The other push will be coming heavily from the top, trying to clear out the vertical angles, and from there on try and push forward. So Team 1, they need to decide what will be their approach. How do they want to go towards this side? Cactus is the one currently playing at it. P4 takes a little bit of damage as he's forced to fall back down on the library stairs, but I think there's much more pressure on the actual side itself as Levy takes some damage here.
Yeah, scratched a little, but enough to put himself into a bit more of a side of caution. Team 1 know when they need to put the pressure on and when they can sort of play themselves a bit away. The pellets, some of them bounce off. I don't think any of them actually connected in the end there. Unfortunately, Vitality made the property too hot. So Team 1 are seeing if they can buy themselves just a modicum of space. Okay, actually, they were able to pop it off, but that mute jammer is going to mean that no more progress can be made until someone stacks up on the side window. Steadily, they're also looking down towards the site itself. The pressure in the hop-in comes through. Cactus suddenly suffers a backline, but it's Neskin that's the one that confirms it there in sight. Neskin once again finds himself driving the team into the fight itself. The grenade's down to catch nobody who is home, and Vitality have to try and find a way to piece themselves control of a site itself. Shinka, top to the bottom, rocks the world of Lagonis, and they're seeing if they can open some of the holes, but Levy's making sure more of them are open in Vitality themselves. It's a 4 versus 2 now, but so much time, and they're already having to try a retake with the pickup on the diffuser. 4 versus 1, one more body slips away. Bibu has all of the space and all of the time he has to try and close down and collapse through, but he doesn't get to see any of it as Team 1 flood that site.
I told you, all they need to do is either go for top floor or they just go straight through the side. And especially with the amount of members that were there for Vitality, it was a good opportunity for Team 1 there to push it just as hard as they did. Put up the pressure onto Vitality with the sides being in their control. Yes, Vitality managed to drop the diffuser. You have to give them credit for that one. Managed to put up quite a bit of pressure on that one. However, with the amount of time that was left for Team 1, due to them choosing so quickly, plenty of time to recover it and to try and to get someone up on that top floor to at least put some pressure down onto the 2 members that were trying to play some vertical angles. Team 1 is leading to 2-0. Vitality not really able to find their groove yet. These are, they're insects. They don't really do well in winter. It's normally when they hide away, but they're going to make sure that they don't hide away now.
It did start snowing today. If people haven't seen the flood of social media posts, the snow kicked in Sweden today, especially where we are, and it looks lovely. And I assume that's probably my perspective, where I don't have to try and play in amongst... Everything's heated, don't get me wrong. You have little hand warmers for the players, but
yeah.
5 seconds to go.
For those that I guess have ever... It probably doesn't compare to the colds of SI, in fairness. February in Canada, I can
definitely
assume
doesn't.
usually...
I think that's -20 instead of -.
Yeah, just we're on like -3.
Yeah, something like that. So it's definitely not as cold as it would be
But
in Montreal.
it's pleasant, it's lovely, and it fits with the theme of Chalet here. But the fire that Team 1 want to bring is this pace that they've instantly applied. They saw a weakness in Vitality. They saw a flaw in a gun, and that was just the drive-through onto the site. Suddenly, Cactus, as a backline player, had everything flooding towards him. 2 players rushing onto the site, not just the single, and that's something that he's going to try and be an awareness of. Those plants are dangerous for drones to hide in.
Definitely is. They often do receive some fire, as Alam out there spots out one of those players. So you just do it now a couple of seconds ago. Just rush for it, try and get a kill, jump in. But this time around, it's not as clear cut. He needs to be a bit more safe about it. As Shinka just putting up a reinforcement now, that might actually cause for a bit of an aggressive push.
They have, obviously, still some setup to be done and pressured here. As P4's going for a bit of a rotate underneath towards Balloon, actually, instead of away into trench to dig underneath the players themselves. It seems like a fairly top-heavy take at this point. They know that they probably can't get away with the double-body drive that they did before, straight through the many trophies that are littering underneath. Instead, here, they're going to see if they can claim some of their own trophies on the top itself. Library has a body and under their control now as they go for this steady half-building clear.
Looking to be entering from below, but P4 still around there as Neskin takes a couple of shots. P4, this is what we know from him. That's what we love him do as well. He's just crouching around, playing around on that bottom full, waiting for the perfect moment to strike and to try and hit them in their backs. But it seems like they're aware. The pings are starting to come out as well, and the flying drone is currently being set up. They have seen him in connector. They know he's currently still in there. They just need to try and figure out how they're going to get him out of there.
Neskin with the flank drone there, and P4's keeping an eye on himself, but it's Alamau that actually went for a slightly different approach. They're seeing if they can put the pressure here onto all the destruction that might otherwise be stopping them. This grenade is going to see if he can catch those jammers. The flashes burn any ADSs, and it does. The wall pops and starts to fall, but 40 seconds, every player's still standing. The flank drone's gone. That'll give more of enough intel by itself, but it's still the pressure onto Alamau to try and take a fight or keep that solidity from any chance on the rotation. There is a man almost and definitely popped open as Bibu locks it off. Rise with one more, and P4 rises up behind the back, finds one, goes for the fight on the second and drops them two. Diffuser is cold, kicks for the reload, a 3 versus 3, but one of the Team 1 players is on the ground. Now he's completely out of the round, and it's the spray through the hole for one, sees the second, can't connect. 4 4 seconds ticks away. It's another body. Look to the floor and press F. Shinka just has to take this final fight. The pings are there. The punch is through. Vitality get 1.
They get the round there, and spectacular fashion, you would almost say. It was a double kill to come through inside of the fireplace. It was just the Rooney left on the top floor, and if there's any operator you would like to have in such a situation where you have the red pings to come in to guide to a potential defuse cancel, it is going to be that Rooney. Just a quick punch with a mechanical arm opens up the entire ceiling and allows you to quickly, well, find the head. Exactly what Shinka did, and that puts up the round score currently to 2-1. Team One, they got quite close. They were able to put the advantage going their way. It was just P4 yet again. I'm going to keep on saying it every single time he does it. If he's allowed to be playing this freely, he will pop up and he will wreak havoc from the back and just stop the entire execute that you were going for.
Well, Vitality have been able to claw their way into 1 round. This game always had the possibility of being spicy. It has a team that is very strong and in form right now, and a team that has spent the last year building better and better and better. Vitality, over the 3 splits, they said it themselves, this is our year to improve, to get sharper. Sure, yeah, we want to fight for the top, everybody does, but our main focus is making sure that this is a roster that once upon a time couldn't quite find its feet and define itself. Now it's finding itself very fine as they find themselves taking the fight to recent great major champions.
And I want to continue bringing that fire. The single round is, of course, not enough. If it was against FaZe, we would be celebrating right now. The 14-0 has ended, but well, that one has ended. Rogue happened, got the 7-5 victory with some, well, just a great game overall from them. And now Team One are playing against a European team as well. It's Vitality, a team that also got here just on the edge. Daz was like, it could have been Kavana, it could have been Vitality. He wasn't sure yet who would be performing better here. But now Vitality, well, they are 3rd place. They have a win on the board. They just need to find a little bit more. But as Rise gets picked up first, that is not a great start.
The pace and the confidence that Team One move around a map to take space that they define as theirs is so good. It's so satisfying to watch as well, just that consistent drive to be where they want to be and making sure that if someone's in the way, they have the wherewithal and the intel to take care of them. Okay, we've seen that stumbled and scarpered as we did on the previous round. A lot of caution was paid to a player that they knew where he was. They just couldn't get themselves round to get the lockdown. But here, this early minute and a half, the way that they've been able to just clear their way through has been so clean.
I think you could actually see the pest there as he moved in with the Twitch drone, but didn't really quite see it in the end. And Amount could have been taking him out there and move on with his drone. Either way, Team One, they have the 1-man entry. They need to continue a bit further than that. And Alamar, well, he picks up P4. That's an amazing threat. Gone on the side of Vitality as well, leaving it up to just 3 of them. SKDS is starting to take control of the library now. They know there is going to be that shield that Beaver's currently playing behind. That is going to be the next stronghold. That is going to be the next point of contention.
Now as Bibu sits, hovers and waits by the staircase, the grenade makes sure he isn't waiting long as it drops down again. That sharp intel play, the spray onto the player on the door, slips through the hole and finds himself in a rotation, but with an open hatch and a body pushing pressure from the dining side itself, there's not much clean space for them to actually find some solace of safety. Cactus is still a back line, and now he's the only line left on a board that is slowly becoming the word flawless. And there it is, written on your screens. Team One bite back and find their 3rd.
The grenade coming in, the gunfight eventually pushing him to 1 HP, which was enough, of course, for the nade to finish him off. He actually got the down there onto the player that he was taking the gunfight with, but these grenades just so effective on picking up the kills, and that is exactly how you want to use them. For a long time, we've seen grenades being used to get rid of shields or get rid of different kind of utility. Now they're starting to get used to get rid of people, and that is when it's at its most explosive, you would dare to say, because suddenly there is an opening, and especially if it's those library stairs, what we do sometimes see is if you do not necessarily take control of it from the instant you get the kill there, someone else moves up, takes the control of those stairs, and suddenly you have to retry the entire game again. The ADS is recharged, the shield you didn't get rid of was there still. That's not the case now. They instantly push towards the stairs. They managed to put up some pressure there onto Shinka, who just trapped through a rotation hold there. As Vitality is in the middle of their tactical timeout, they are currently debating what needs to go better? Because they started off the major strong. A 7-1 against Dark Zero, 7-2, one of the two. We've seen a lot of those.
We have seen a lot of those.
But after that, not really able to get those wins in. Leaves them in the 3rd place now. And yes, they're up against Team 1. That is currently that #1 team. But they really want to be picking up some points here as well, just to keep themselves competitive in their groups.
Vitality currently do sit in 2nd place in their group as well, with Team 1, the team at the top. A win here would not confirm them, sure, but it would surely go a long way in terms of locking it out, and means that, I believe, just picking up a single point would then confirm Team 1 for playoffs. Yeah. Maybe even less than that. It might just depend on other teams not quite having the lockdown. That is the way that this works. Again, this is the halfway point. The halfway game will be reached when we get to the results of this. And obviously, if you are unaware, the other 2 teams from this group are playing on the opposing stream as we find ourselves here.
That is basically how we do it the entire day so far. Every single time there's a match going on, the other matchup that is inside that group is playing on the alternate stream. AP Bravo, or of course the main channel, which you are currently on. If you're just tuning in, welcome. We are currently having Team 1 take it on against Vitality, maybe even the other way around, because Team 1, they are currently the reigning champions. They want to make sure that they give it another shot at the playoffs.
So, Team Talk, Vitality, what have you discussed? Because, to be fair, what we're seeing so far is sharp gunfights. Team 1 are taking ground that they really decide is theirs, and what we're seeing from Vitality is just a struggle to connect with that pace, that swing round. Sure, they flood with a bit of danger and lent in a little, but it becomes that conversation of, do we try and go even further, throw ourselves deeper in, or does it lead to results like that? Or do we try and pull back because Team 1 have decided that Team Talk won't open into Vitality's favor? Shinka the first to be dropped inside Trophy, and the drones of Team 1, well, they roll on forevermore.
Keep on trying to gain some information here. A very heavy top 4 setup from the side of Vitality. All the roamers, all that were there, have been taken care of. It was just Shinka, not P4 this time around. He's playing closer towards that site, as some of the shields are currently being repositioned by, for example, Bibu. Alamau opening up the window from the balcony towards the main bridge and is looking to put up some pressure into the office from the get-go as well. As Neskin, though, with a double kill, will be able to pick up P4 and Bibu. That brings it back to just Cactus and Ryan. It's going to be a very tough ask for them to try and stop this from happening. A smoke canister will be used to alleviate the pressure from the window, but no one is there as Rise will be able to finally find a kill.
Now, 4 versus 2, but Rise almost died. There it is, the lockdown and confirmation from underneath. The Buck uses the skeleton key to open more than just the floor, and the final player is Cactus, the only player in the server to not have a kill to their name, and now they've got to try and find themselves tied, but pretty much first if they want to make this happen. The first falls his way, the second does not, and Team 1 take another round and keep this momentum rolling.
Team 1 was set up for it there. You saw they were slowly getting closer. They were creeping in on his last position. A man up on the big window. They were moving in from the hallway, but the bridge area as well at the same time. And you can try and get 1 kill, but if you move anything after that, you will be picked up. If you do not move anything after that, you just get pre-fired. So you're basically stuck between a rock and a hard place in that case. 4-1, currently Team 1 will be leading against Vitality. In the meantime, on the other stream right here, welcome to APAC, so I'm really wondering what just happened over there.
The other team, it's Dark Zero versus Sandbox?
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it's one of my favorite teams in APAC, actually, Sandbox. I really like to play.
It's a lot of people, and Dark Zero had a rough day yesterday, so they've got to try and pick stuff up, and against Sandbox is a team where sometimes the unpredictability becomes that danger. Here, Team 1, it's not that their drive is unpredictable, but their knowledge and the way that they're applying it against Vitality is so sharp. They're picking so much up via the drone game. The intel game is threading their story, their route through onto the site. Whether it's, let's drive into this space, take it, go, and now we'll start to build, or whether it's the attention to detail. The one round was where they seemed to slow themselves down. They realized that, and they've said, well, let's stop doing that. We see, we take, we conquer, we're Latam, we're Team 1.
I mean, the last 2 big titles, of course, have gone to Latam. The 6th Invitational, of course, to NIP and Major Mexico, which went to Team 1. currently they're doing pretty well as well. I think they've only lost one game so far with the entire region, which have just happened. It was Rogue versus FaZe. And that means that overall, Latam doing really well in their groups. They're definitely looking like they could be making it out here as Neskin put up some pressure from the garage. Might be trying to directly counter P4, who's often, of course, on the prowl himself as well.
That's it, the drones are trying to find P4. He might not know that his route downstairs is about to become very dangerous. Neskin's holding it. Alamau is there on the swing as well. And the fight comes together. They get the spray down. A grenade to buy himself a second of time because they know that exactly. They have the watch on the double door of Fireplace. They have Alamau on the loose swing too. P4's finding a route, but KDS is finding Rise, and the lockdown fight starts to happen above the site as well. There's only so long much focus that they can pay, but P4 at least finds the lockdown and Neskin underneath.
Oh, Levy misses the opportunity there to make sure that he had the opportunity, could be able to punish P4 because he just snuck by after he killed Neskin. He was just delayed on the trigger there to make sure that that would be traded out yet once more, keeping the number favorites within the side of Team 1. Would have been a great kill to pick up as well. P4 is always that clutch factor he has as well. Zalman now quite close to actually picking up Bibu here. Not quite sure if he's behind the shield. No, he's not. That's just a blind free fire. Deals a bit of damage and allows Bibu to just run off, but it could have gone wrong real badly.
It was a sort of breath of timing there as, well, if that was 5 seconds later, Bibu would have been the one that pre-fired the punishment there, but this time around it came through for Alamau. He scratches away at Bibu, puts the pressure, and the swing comes onto the big double door on Piano. There is still players underneath that might cause problems. P4 is the name, but Lagonis is eyeing up the entrance and takes it. Deep dives his way all the way into the back line to hit the camera and maybe try and stick the diffuser, but as the pressure comes around the corner, they're going to try and meet it themselves. Shinka scrapes away and just suffers a bit of a shake-up, but Lagonis isn't quite done. Gets in close, slips past the grenade. Bibu's hopped off with 1 HP. Underneath 2, back to the side, but there it is! Another Team 1 just closed down. They have the angles and the doors, and every corner you turn, there is somebody to meet you. A 3 versus 1. P4's left at a handful of seconds to his name, but Lagonis is going to see if he can get the stick. Heads upstairs, but by the time he gets to the point of pressure, the diffuser will be planted. So, 40 seconds on a post-plant situation to see if he can remove the 3 remaining players. 2 are heavily injured. Alamau is not. The Buck is in a good stead, and the first fight is going to be the ping, but the consistent movement means he doesn't quite have an angle on any of them. They're not dropping themselves into the fight. He takes the drop, but the swing from Trophy, that's the one that locks it off. Team 1 with a 5-1 half.
The 5-1 half indeed to come in. It's a good lockout here for them. And some of you might be wondering, why are they red pinging? You know, like we're always told to not do it, but in this case, the red ping is being used to force them to move around, which may allow P4 to pick up a kill or 2 as a result. Unfortunately for them, not the case this time around. And Team 1, well, they have a very comfortable lead. It's 5-1. But we have seen this yesterday. It was Team Empire, I believe, against Space Station, which almost came back around. And of course, unfortunately for Empire, ended in favor of SSG, who was able to pick up those final 2 rounds in the end. But we're nowhere near that yet. Team 1 have 4 opportunities to be the ones to reach the match point first, and if they do so in the very first round, have 5 opportunities to be the ones to, well, get that game, to lock it out. So it is looking quite good for them. And they're on the defense now. And now the wonder comes in. How will Team Vitality do? I love the breakdown, by the way.
Yeah, that's cool.
It really helps on remembering what happened. Was it a time that ran out? Was it the diffuser they got planted? For those of you as well that just tuned in, you get a bit of an idea how the game was developing. Is it like very plant heavy, or was it purely frag oriented?
Okay, Vitality, you've got a sharp drive here with your attacks, but to be fair, this sort of situation isn't the most uncommon for a team to try and drive themselves in not only the current meta, but also Chalet, which has found itself as a bit of a boon for attacker-driven teams. The pressure's going to start here with Rise on the Ash, who hasn't quite been able to have the connection with this game that they have inside EUL recently, where they're quite consistently a bit of a problem for a lot of their opposing teams. Bibu Wants to try something quick here. The pressure might come over the top. The Gon 6 causes a bit of a ruckus, and Alamau's aware as he pulls to a new position, but Cactus and Rise hop in a piece. Alamau finds P4, Neskin gets Rise, and suddenly the rush has started to fall away from them. Cactus, though, is going to stick it with Bibu on the cover, trying to hold off the door, but Cactus keeps his head down, locked off, 45 seconds on the clock. A 3 versus 3 with the window control still in their favor. They're pre-firing towards it, but underneath on the Solarium stairs, it's not an easy retake. Bibu gets one more on the double, and Alamau goes down as Neskin slipped his way to try and find a 1 versus 1, but Bibu's making sure that that's a consistent guessing game. A triple for the man, the myth, the legend, the Bibu monster that is still causing problems. Levy, 20 seconds. His first pass is this man. Doesn't get further, and there it is. Vitality get their first attack.
These quick rounds really been working out, well, wonders for European teams, you have to say. Rogue is one of them who have a very high win percentage with them if they just get onto the side and go for the rush. And I was wondering as well, how did the diffuser get in that deep? He just walked in from balcony, ran through the door, up to the back of the half wall, didn't even go for the breach. They just tried to run through. And of course, they could do that due to the pressure that was coming down from the hallway, from the big window, from Solarium. There were so many angles being watched at that point. And, well, Vitality, they have closed the current gap with just a singular round for now, but it's a good start. They need to find more, however, a couple more, because, you know, Team One still 3 rounds ahead.
3 rounds, it's a gap, but it's a slightly narrower gap. And you've opened yourself up here, as you said, with a rush. It's something that EU does quite often, is that quick strike when they're sort of pressured, when they're against the wall. We saw Rogue do it earlier in the one game that hasn't really gone into Latin America's favor. And now we're going to see if Vitality can pull themselves into a bit of a comeback here onto the potential of locking off this Chalet, or at least clawing their way to OT. Still they're in second, but you want to try and put the pressure on the team that's in first before you have to set up and remantle for the rematch tomorrow.
That's it, that rematch will still be coming in, and that is something that will be in their minds. However, Team One, they have the opportunity to be confirmed already before that rematch comes in. Of course, does require them to win this game, otherwise the group does close up quite a bit again. To be fair, I wouldn't mind this group to be closer than it currently seems to be, with Vitality picking up a win here against them. Maybe even an overtime win, just to keep the points even closer in that case. Either way, what can they do? They have just let in with a very quick push. They now need to find a new way that will be working, and often after you go for a quick rush, it does not work again. Someone extra will be left on the sides, or players will be extra close to try and reply in need be.
The window gets popped open. The pressure starts to come towards the Goners potentially, but Vitality are still steadying and busying their way across the rest of the clear on the site itself. The drones are seeing if they can pull anything from those horrifying beams, and it's a great map for hiding drones. It is one of those things, as your plants, your beams, they are everywhere. Just assume you're being watched on this map. The close grenade goes to pop as the smoke covers the potential entrance here. Lagonas is still being cautious, but also has Alamau as a bit of a swing protection in that core corridor.
We're inside now on the Solarium side. Cactus looking to put up some pressure, but long angles will be watched. Has to be careful as a wallbang is attempted. Lagonas takes a bit of damage as he drops down prone into the kitchen. Vitality's really going for the execute now.
Cactus finds the first, the Neskin's dropped off. Rise is round the back. I don't know if he saw the double take. It was Lagonas lying on the floor underneath Cactus's eye line. Now he's in the middle of 2 players as KDS is going to see if he can swing around and offer some fight back. There it is. Drop down a 2 versus 1. He doesn't wrap enough bullets. A 1 versus 1. The Bibu! Knocked it out of the park and had probably a bit of an inhale, but now he can exhale.
It's like the gas, like, oh no, the Z4, this is my last shot, and managed to land it there. Vitality yet again, quick push you have to say. They did some preparing work this time, but the real execute came down. 1 minute, 30 seconds to go. That is not, you know, to those of you who only know Vitality back from the Paris Major, then it will happen with 20 seconds to go, well, maybe even 10 seconds to go. That's when they will be entering. This is a lot quicker here. And it almost went wrong due to the fact that there was a player prone on the ground. Kills were happening everywhere.
Yep.
You missed it. Might have thought he was dead because the kills were coming through. Either way, that could have been detrimental for Vitality. That could have been the match point for Team One. Either way, they are still fighting back. They have found their second round onto the attack right now, and the pace that they are bringing so far seems to be a bit too strong, a bit too much for Team One. However, there's ways to adapt to that. You need to slow them down. How do you do that? Castle barricades, Surya laser gates, ADSs, mirror windows. Just put up everything you can to force them to challenge these different angles at the entry points, because if they cannot get into the site, they cannot plant quickly. So if you can keep them out just like that, that is going to be slowing Vitality down a whole lot, and that allows Team One to rotate around just a little bit more.
2 in a row Vitality, but can you build a little bit more behind it? Because it's still coming down to this decisive, aggressive firefight across the two teams. Team One have been that step ahead. The scoreline is deserved, but at the same time, Vitality have been fighting pretty much every single round. Team One are doing exactly the same here. It came close. A 2 versus 2 to a 2 versus 1 to a 1 versus 1. It is the closest you can really get at that dying throws of a round, and here, well, that's something that Team One can also build behind. Levy puts some pressure towards the opener, but isn't going to overextend as they try and find themselves, as you said, buying and baiting some information and time elsewhere. Try and force Vitality into these uncomfortable situations, but as I said, it is a horrible map to know exactly where your enemy has intel, what intel they have, and exactly what is clear in clarity.
Again, trying to hold a long angle there, but they seem to be super well aware that drone is around. Their Cactus is about to be going for the jump in there. Hopes to go for a pre-fire, gets it as well. Just found ahead. He thought he was going to be safe, but he was not. And Cactus now inside, going for the plant. P4 dropping through. Again, Vitality are exploding onto the sides. And P4, well, he's down. There's no revive just yet, but it's only up to Levy and Nesky now in a 4-on-2 situation.
Cactus lay down and didn't quite die, but still, enough damage has been done to Levy to make any entrance scrappy and dangerous. They have themselves spread out either side and one above as well. This is close to impossible, but we've seen impossible be done before. Rise is keeping an awareness on the rotation on the other side. Keeps the attention, pays it down. The energy is high on the French side. They are 1 round away from pulling this even.
They are indeed that singular round away from pushing it up to 5-5 and then have the opportunity themselves to go towards a match point. Team One, what are you going to be able to do right now at this time? You need to make sure that you take back control, and they call for the tactical pause, logically so. It was 5-1, it's 5-4, and it's not like the rounds, you know, they get very close and they eventually land into Vitality's side. No, this is what's happening. I'm going to tell you right now. Team One is playing on the side. Vitality get a singular pick. Everybody's suddenly on the side. 5 people, suddenly, boom. There you go. Full side control for Vitality. The plank goes down. And we're in a post-plant situation where Team One is unfortunately not able to bring it back. That first pick is the key. If they did not lose the mirror player right there in Pantry, that round wouldn't have gone down the way it did, because then there would have been a way to challenge the jump in and the plant that went down.
It's Vitality not giving Team One a second to breathe. It's them going 3, 2, 1, let's boogie, and it's all over the site. It is getting the objective play focused down. It's looking for as many gunfights in a short space of time as possible. You see it actively. Like the bees that they represent, they flood, they swarm, and it is just tough for Team One to try to find that breath, to find that moment, because it's so sudden. It's all a cacophony of calls and explosions. They are everywhere, and they're doing it within the opening minute, or they're waiting 2 minutes. They're setting themselves up at an unknown pace, where before, when Team One were doing this sort of clear and approach, it was equally as powerful, but a slight difference is Team One wouldn't hide their presence. They would make themselves a bit loud and a bit bold. Vitality are sneaky, and then you're dead.
That's the thing, right? And the way it works with bees, if one stings, it releases a poison which attracts the rest of it.
Give me some bee fat.
That's exactly what happened here. You know, we could quote the Bee movie if you really want to.
I
don't think the game will last that long anymore. Either way, Vitality get that first kill. Suddenly everybody is on side. It's like they're all in a position. They're all trying to take a gunfight. And as soon as they find it, they all go towards that way and start pushing through the gap they have just created. If that's on the side, that's great. You can go for a plant straight away, and suddenly that round is going your way. That is something Team One need to stop, and I believe they're going to the basement. It is a site where it's hard to extend. We've always said it. You need to be roaming, and that's exactly what is currently going on with Team One. They're trying to go for some extra roams here, and as I believe that is an Electro Club that was destroyed. That is a breach that now will go through. Levy still close, however, Rise is ready to go for a gunfight as soon as a drone comes in to give away that position. It's going to come, however, with a bit of support.
What you will say about this site, though, is it might be hard to extend, but it makes it hard to rush. Here, as Vitality's trying to find their inroad across the top, it's P4 making some roads of his own. He's trying to see if they can dig out Levy and force him into a more uncomfortable situation, but it's making this width, this play, have to come through. Team 1's able to slip their way back towards the kitchen side, as they've obviously got the snowmobile wall open, but there's still a lot of structure left for them to see if they can dismantle and destroy in this split. These are two teams that are so exciting to watch on their attack and defense because everything is fluid. There is so much consistent movement across them. It is just active at all times, guns blaring and blazing, and as you said, look at that, and look at those soft walls either side. P4, he's got a ping, he's got an idea, he puts a spray down, and KDS gets out of there.
And he's forced to fall back, and slowly but steadily the top floor and the first floor are being taken under control by Vitality. But Levy, he's going on a roam, and it could be a very important one. If he manages to strike at the very right timing, you might be able to disable the bees and their swarming strikes. As Alamau is up there as well. It's currently 3 people on the side, it's 2 people on that top floor, and as Levy is looking to open up to put that pressure down, it's just a bit of a distraction here for Alamau to start striking as well. Looking through the hole that was made before. It is Team 1 that is looking to go aggressive.
2 stories of explosion. We are go now as they blast their way through, but Bibu is the first one they meet. Alamau, top to the bottom, is trying to find the lock-off on the stairs, but that leaves just KDS and Lagones to keep the control and the calm here. 45 seconds. More walls and extensions are being opened, and the firefight comes for Alamau's favor. Injured, but over the top, and Vitality are now surrounded. All sides is marred and mirrored by all of the LATAM players that are slowly creeping their way. Alamau on the top goes for the wide take here, sees it, Slivers can't get the connection that he wants on the double door. The grenade deep shudders across Lagones' face and allows Bibu entrance, but it's Rise that locks one more. The trade comes on the corner, Cactus drives it, 15 seconds, a 2 versus 3, but they have verticality no more. Alamau on the creep round the backside, a body dead, tries to find a route round onto the internals. Post plan, they know Alamau is the only one left, not for very long. 5-5.
And there it comes, Vitality starting to come alive. The screams are getting louder and louder. And Vitality are a round away of making it to match point. And that is what they're currently hoping for. The tactical timeout had been used. Alamau, he did his best. He managed to pick up one. Levy, unfortunately, not able to get the vertical as he was being disrupted by Shinka. And also just Alamau, he spotted the head, but he flicked off. Did not expect someone to be there. And as a result, Vitality have closed the gap. It looked like Team 1 was going to be able to walk away with this game quite quickly, but it has quickly been turned around.
5-5, and Vitality have all the energy and momentum in their favor right now. Team 1 have used their tac timeout, but it only takes one success to push them over the limit. And this is turning entirely into an attacker-sided map. Assuming, obviously, that there was opting of who wanted to go on what side first between attack and defense, that might be a deciding factor. As it has been in other games this tournament, whoever gets it in OT is the team that wins. It's just the way the drone rolls sometimes. Thank you, Jackers.
I was going to say Jackers 2021, probably.
I have to throw in some of his lines, because this is the game that matches the intensity
of the ranked stack.
5-5, Vitality. Can you keep this pace up? And Team 1, what can you do? The roam almost worked. a couple of bullets in slightly different locations would have been the gunfight in their favor. You want them to lean into that again.
Just not happen with FaZe and Rogue. FaZe also, I believe, 5-1 up. Rogue turned it around, managed to get a 7-5 victory. Maybe this is just a game that European teams are playing today. Shinka with a good drone here has a perfect spot on Alamau, knows exactly where he is, and he's also one of those heavy hitters currently on the side of Team One. If they manage to sneak him out or sneak in on him and get that kill, then suddenly Team One is again all with a single man down, which will be so painful for them.
Vitality is seeing what they can open to cause problems, and again, this drone game. Chalet is a nightmare for it, and it's something that has been proven against both of the defenses of both these two teams. But still, with Rise holding the sliver of the angle on the rotation, they're going to see if they can pop this mirror window, and there's the opportunity, and there goes an oNe that drops down. There is an ADS. Still one remains at least. There might have been two there, but one is gone. And that is still a bit of a burn and a boon for that player on the top of what is a power position on this hold here. Alamau with his angles across both sides, keeping a keen eye, but it depends. Where are you, Vitality? That is the dangerous game you play.
Things are rolling in slowly. That one will actually take care of the ADS, but not so much of KDS. They need to make sure that they get rid of this position so they have the library under control. Of course, the staircase is still a highly contested point as well, but Rise is coming in soon to try and work with that. P4 gets the kill. Neskin then falls by Rise. It's a double kill to come through, and now they need to take care of Panther, because if they do so, that plant will yet again once more come through. Lagonis takes a lot of damage, has the mirror window to play with. Alamau needs to go back. He picks up the kill into Rise, and with that shuts down the pinch, but Shinka still around as well, picks him up as well. It's a double kill for Alamau. A 3-on-2 situation now for Vitality.
Levy is creeping his way around onto the prep, and if they don't know, well, Cactus is going to go for the plant. The C4 over the top, but it's the cover of Bibu who gets one more. P4 finds it. Alamau puts them into a 2 versus 1. He is trying everything to keep them in this range. A fourth for Alamau doesn't get the ace. Vitality get themselves OT, and they put themselves 1 round away from locking out a win.
They're starting to make it happen here. Many might not have believed that Vitality was able to climb back into this one, but their attacks have been flawless so far. Alamau, he's doing the best he can. He picked up a quad kill, almost single-handedly saved the round here for Team One. This Cactus, well, the one with the final kill, the man who we shouted out before was, you know, he's the only one without a kill at this very moment in time. The attack comes around, that turned around. Cactus 7 kills, but he's also the one that keeps on planting every single time. He's the diffuser carrier. If they sneak in with that diffuser, it's on him.
Rise as well. Rise has stepped up massively into this second half. He was struggling on the defense. He kept on being taken by surprise. A player that is usually so strong in these power positions that just sticks in and it becomes a huge problem to get rid of them was easily brushed aside by the fantastic attacks and calls and plays and intel game of Team One. But here, throwing himself onto the Ash, into the firefights, and finding so much pressure on the entry, the movements and momentum that he is carrying over is the heat that you see in those player cams. 6-5. They are only 1 round away from being just 1 round into the game at the turn of the half. It has been a scream of attacks at this Chalet. Team One, you have been 1 round away from OT for such a long time. It just takes a little bit of a connection to go in your favor, in your way, and then you'll find yourself once again fighting for the chance of the win.
The drones of Vitality have been so good though. They're not moving on them at all. They're not giving away any sound. They just hide them. They get the information. They strike with that information and push them from there on. That is what we like to see. That drone game that is really carrying them across right now. Together, of course, with the explosion that happens right after they get that initial kill. That is what leads Vitality to a position right now where they are on a match point. And they have the opportunity to close it off or at least push towards overtime. We said it before, a singular point would already be good considering how Team One has been performing. Well, let's make that to a potential of 3 points. That would be even better.
Now, as the approach starts to come over the balcony, they've secured themselves the rafters control and box pops open, giving them a big angle and eyes, but Team One sort of played around this game. They've got themselves stacked up, obviously underneath. They were happy to hand over this territory. They're not going for that roam game, though they have the potential to really dig in on the top floor. They're forcing Vitality into a bit of a steady, clear game here as they're trying to find 1 or 2 apiece. But with that drone dropped on the close corner now, KDS is aware of the approaching and encroaching presence.
You know, 2 players will be at least on that top floor. There is a 3rd one, however, but that means there's only 1 or 2 on the actual side, and that is what they want to go for. The grenade comes in yet once again. The Mew Jammers have been taken care of. Cactus will surely follow in soon, with starting to open up with these Selmas. The impacts, however, are currently being used by Neskin, at least, are attempted to be used as he gets stagged whilst falling back. Decides to go all the way through the basement. It's a fight to come through, a potential run out even that he's going to be attempting because he thinks maybe someone is up on the windows. I'm not quite sure. Of course, not the case. No pressure really coming down from there. Vitality, they are looking to go for a plant yet once more. The comebacks are coming. The members of Team 1 are starting to fall back. Will it be in time though, however, as there's only 2 on the site?
Alamau has these canisters as well. They know roughly where the plant's going to come through, and it is going to explode. When it does, P4 with the slow creep up to the cross angle, but Neskin, he's still on the roam in the rotation. 3 stories of a hold, and Shinka is the first one to start to break it. The grenade pops onto the close corners, and there's the first canister thrown towards the default plant spot. They have to try and drive themselves in deep. 30 seconds, and time is of the essence for a Vitality team that has a habit of exploding. A powder keg of possibilities is all across the top. The grenade goes and rocks a little bit of Alamau, but the spray and the flood comes through. The swarm hits the boards. The first drops above. The diffuser's cold. Everything is coming up Team 1 right now. The 2 versus 2. They need the ping. They see the body. There's just 1 player left standing. Can they find them? Vitality! The 5-1 to a flawless attack. 6-5 lockout, and they find themselves at the top of the board.
What a reverse sweep that was. 5-1, as you said, to 6 rounds in a row. Back-to-back, clean. And this last one came very close. It was just a matter of seconds. The diffuser was just recovered before it fell down again. And Vitality, they take home those 3 points. And as you see in the live rankings, are back on the 2nd place now because they were shortly kicked out of it. Team 1 for now, still 1st place, but this loss must hurt.
As close to an entire sweep as can possibly be done from an upstart team that only just qualified for the tournament versus a hot favorite that has been exceptional. Both teams were exceptional. There's no 2 ways about it. The attacks were fantastic, and this is far from the last we've ever heard of Team 1, but 2 huge, explosive, creative, and fantastic teams that bring this attack on Siege. Oh, you love to see it.
You love to see it indeed, and surely this match will be broken down into the details in just a couple of seconds, but before we toss it back to the analyst desk, we have a quick break, so be right back.
What does it take to create the future of a gaming community? Join us on this 4th episode of I Call Next as we discover how to level up gameplay and reset the expectations of an entire league. PayPal. Press play.
Easy going right there. One more to go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. What a game! Vitality victorious! EU continues strong. Let's go. All the Europeans are having fun with this one. I am so excited to see what Europe can bring down the road. And you know what? This is a good road to start on, don't you think?
Europe had a very middle-of-the-road day yesterday, and they're on the road to success. Rogue beating out FaZe. Vitality beating out Team One. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. You don't often see it, or you won't really see it as viewers, but in the pre-match lobbies, the players often have a little bit of banter.
Yeah.
Alamo actually asked, who are these guys to Vitality? I think you know that right now, Alamo, because they just beat you, my friend.
Alamo likes to talk so much trash, and I love it.
I love it too.
But I also adore it when it backfires.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the best to have. There was Chalet, a comfy map for European teams that have been playing it really since its introduction in Stage 2. They've gone very well on it. Team One have also played it very effectively. Lost it to FaZe Clan, I think, at the Copa Elite finals. But having rewatched that game, I don't think it really was Team One that we are expecting to really show up here. So Vitality, a win and in regulation. That's all 3 points in the comeback.
And I somewhat challenged Vitality's resilience. I said yesterday they faced some technical difficulties and they lost the game, and that shows the team's resilience. I said that a good team would go on and win. Maybe in the moment they didn't have that resilience, but they backed up today. They clearly turned to a new page, they put that behind them, and they were completely focused on this game. Even at 5-1 down, you'd be forgiven for thinking they're going to give up against the reigning champions. They didn't. A flawless half.
Yeah.
Second half to win it out was absolutely sensational from them.
And I asked her the question before we started this match. I was like, Fresh, in your experience as a coach, how do you get into this as a team that had to face these issues? How to reset mentally after? And it's like, well, you know what? You just have to take it one game at a time.
Yeah, and it's super hard to do in the server, and that's what Vitality maybe faced the issue yesterday, is that Laloon can still only talk to them when it's the actual timeout, not during technical pauses. After that, she's had hours with them, got them in the right frame of mind, and they've come up and they've played, you know, what they will have seen as their strongest opponent, and they've played a very good game. You know, they won't have wanted to be 5-1 down, but to come from 5-1 down to 7-5 is, you know, it's a big achievement.
That is a big achievement, and the fact that it didn't go to overtime is incredibly important in this case. The one round that Vitality was able to clasp onto after the first half, that was very important. And we know that this map is more geared towards the attacking side right now. We've never seen it really be this attacker-sided, I guess.
No.
But still, effective, and that energy of Vitality carried it through.
It is, and they play off the back of each other's aggression. That's what I like about Vitality, is they tend to double down. It's usually, you know, P4, and then Rise off the back of that, Bibu off the back of that. They'll double down on that aggression, and that makes their attacks so good. You see it there. They got 4 plants down, and the other 2 come down to kills, and they could have been plants in those rounds. They could have had a half with 6 plants and 6 wins via planting the objective. It's just the fact in 2 rounds they happen to kill the enemy first.
And the crazy thing is that the top 3 players, Bibu, Cactus, and Rise of Vitality, are the 3 old guard. Cactus has been playing for ages at the top tier competitive play, way before this modern form. Bibu and Rise, of course. Shinka and P4 are really the only 2 that really came into their own around 2-ish years ago. In competing in like smaller French lands to get to where they are today.
Yeah, myself and Cactus were actually on a team way back when in Kix's project team. We both somewhat were given an opportunity,
mid to late year,
given a good opportunity and guidance from Kix to, you know, evolve into the professional game. Cactus took his chance then. He went to, I believe it was Game Ward, and passed through Challenger League into UL now, and we're seeing him here at a major for, you know, the first time.
Good for him. This is why majors are so important. These big events are so important because careers are made here. This is where you kind of put your name out there in the real way, and all of Vitality have scratched their names on Sweden so far. We'll see how deep they continue. But here's an update on how things have gone through so far with our groups. What do they all look like so far is the question, because A right now is Rogue with a win. 2 OT wins for them puts them at 7 points. 6 for FaZe, 4 for Chiefs, and 1 for OXG. But I think it's very clear what's happening in Group B.
I'm getting a little bit excited at the thought of Group B right now because it looked like Team 1 was going to run away and we had a three-way battle for second place. We have a three-way battle for the top 2. Dark Zero, they remain on 0.
Let those who have reckoning reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666. We're gonna get DMCA'd with this, but for all the Iron Maiden fans out there, this is the one you're looking for. As a huge Iron Maiden fan myself, this is it. 666.
6.
No.
0. Well, yeah, I'm
the song. Continue the song.
Oh.
The number of the beat. No, we can't say that. We can't. There it is.
I refuse. I'm keeping us in line with TOS, but that's a three-way tie for first place, and you know, Team 1, we know they like a little tiebreaker game, and
remember what we talked about yesterday?
Oh my!
We said, oh, are we gonna have another tiebreaker game for the second tournament in a row, which is already the first time ever that it's happened?
Wow!
Are you kidding me?
Wow! Where does this leave? Just as a side point, where does this leave NA? They've started NA as a region 2 games against APAC teams this morning and lost both. That is 1 win in 10 games for NA at this tournament.
You ask, where does that leave NA? I think near airport is the usual response.
Yep.
And the official one that we're sticking with. So there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's see how it all comes down as we continue with our day. Game 3 will be coming up in just a bit. See you in a moment.